Hello students, welcome back to the e-learning program organized by Shree Gyanmanjari Vidyapith. I hope that by now you must have gone through English Standard 9, Lecture 1 of the Chapter 1, The Fun They Had. And you must have submitted the homework to the associate's number which was given in the letter. The Fun They Had is written by Isaac Asimov, and it is a story which is set in future. This is exactly the situation right now we are in. You used to enjoy the everyday school timing, fun and learning together. All of you used to come to school. For 5-6 hours you used to stay at school, get instructions from the teachers, you were taught by the teachers, your queries were answered by the teachers. But right now, because of the outbreak of the novel coronavirus, that is COVID-19, we are all in a lockdown situation. And you are all learning at home with the help of internet, with the help of video lectures. This is what this lecture is about. The futuristic schools that are going to be in the near future. Students will be sitting at home and will be learning at home with the help of computers. Assessment, that is the test, will be taken at home, which will be checked mechanically by the mechanical teachers. That is what we are going to learn in this chapter. Now students, let us have a quick recap of what we learned in the previous lecture of chapter number 1, The Fun They Had. We learned that Maggie was an 11-year-old girl, and she wrote in her diary, the date of the diary was 17 May 2157. This year is 2020, that is 2020, so approximately 137 years from now. So this story is cast in the future. Tommy, another character of this story, he is 2 years older than Maggie, that is, he is 13 years of age. Tommy found a book, a real book, in the attic. Attic is at the topmost part of the house which has a slanting roof. Both the children were very excited about their discovery, and never in their life had they seen a real book, because the story is cast in the future, and the way they are learning right now is totally different from what we are learning, what you are learning right now. So they had never seen a real book in their life made of paper, in where the letters are printed on the paper. So they were quite surprised when the letters did not move, they remained on the page as it is, and both of them were quite excited about the book, because the way they use the books, they use the telebooks. Now what is a telebook? Telebook is an electronic book, or we can say it's a digital book. The book was about school, and Margie really hated school. Margie was very excited and she wanted to know what that book was about. She was informed by Tommy that it was a book about school. She was very much disappointed because what is there to write about school? What is there to learn about school? She hated school like anything. Recently, why she was hating the school? Because recently she was getting very bad marks in geography. The mechanical teacher was asking her questions and the mechanical teacher was taking test after test and she was not able to perform very well and she got quite bad marks, low marks in those tests, and the mother also was quite disappointed and she also did not like that the performance of the child is going from bad to worse. So that is why Margie was hating school. The mother was so upset because of the bad result in the geography tests that she called for the county inspector to come and check the mechanical teacher. So the county inspector comes to visit Margie's house and to check the working of the mechanical teacher. Margie hoped that the mechanical teacher was taken apart by the county inspector, but Margie hoped that he would not be able to assemble the mechanical teacher and county inspector would have to take the mechanical teacher to the workshop for further repairs. But that did not happen, and within an hour the county inspector found the fault and he successfully repaired the mechanical teacher. Tommy tells her about school of those days, that the teacher is a man and not a robot. He tells her more about a human teacher. Margie does not believe that a man could be a teacher. The children were taught by mechanical teachers, but in the book said that human beings worked as teachers. The human beings taught the children rather than a robot or a mechanical teacher. And then Tommy tells her more about human beings or human teachers. Margie, since childhood, when she started the school, right from that time, she was always taught by a mechanical teacher. So she is not ready to believe that a man could be a teacher. Students, we have learned up till here. So now let us learn the remaining part of the story. Let us go ahead from here. A man isn't smart enough. Sure, he is. My father knows as much as my teacher. He knows almost as much. I betcha. Here we see Margie trying to defend what she believes in. She believes that a human being cannot become a teacher. A human being can't teach like a teacher because right from her childhood she had been taught only by a mechanical teacher. So she is not ready to believe. She says a man isn't smart enough like the mechanical teacher. A robot is smarter than man. So a robot can teach, a man can't. To that, Tommy argues that, sure, he is smart enough. Tommy's father's, sorry, Tommy's father knows as much as his teacher. That is what Tommy is saying. Sure, he is. My father knows as much as my teacher. Tommy is elder than Margie, so he has lots of questions that he puts in front of his father, and father must be answering those questions. This is how Tommy comes to know that father knows as much as the mechanical teacher. So, for Tommy, it's quite natural that yes, a human being or men, they have as much knowledge and they are as much smart as the mechanical teacher. But Margie is yet not able to understand, or she is not able to accept then that a man can be smarter than a mechanical teacher. So Margie says, he knows almost as much, I betcha. She's still sticking to her point that, yes, I can bet you. Betcha means I can bet you that he is as smart as a mechanical teacher. Margie wasn't prepared to dispute that. She said, I wouldn't want a strange man in my house to teach me. Now she goes in another way to place the argument in front of Tommy. She says that I wouldn't want a strange man in my house to teach me. Margie doesn't want to continue with the dispute longer, so she cuts short by saying that she wouldn't want a strange man in the house to teach me. Now, she is younger than Tommy, so naturally she finds quite a lot of safety in the house with the family members, and young children, they are not that much comfortable with strangers in their house. And being a girl, she says that she wouldn't want a strange man to come into my house and teach me. Tommy screamed with laughter. You don't know much, Margie. The teachers didn't live in the house. They had a special building and all the kids went there. Because Tommy had been reading the book, so naturally he knew what was in the book more than Margie, because Margie had just come and might have read a paragraph here or there what Tommy was reading. So she didn't know much. Tommy, on the opposite side, had gone through many pages in the book. So he screamed with laughter. Here, screaming is not shouting on top of the voice. Here, because of Margie's remarks, he suddenly burst into laughing. That is the meaning of screaming over here. Tommy screamed with laughter that Margie didn't know much about teachers. He says, a very important point, that the teachers did not come to their house to teach them. Rather, there was a special building where the teachers used to teach the children. That means the teacher also came from his own home to that building. The children also left their school home and they came to that special building, that is the school, and all of them were taught over there. The children were taught over there in the school. They had a special building and all the kids went there. Tommy informs or gives this information to Margie that the human being, the human teacher, did not come to your house. Rather, he went to a special building, and all the children, all the students also came to that special building, which is called a school, and the teaching and learning was done in that school. And all the kids learned the same thing. Now, a very natural question is asked by Margie because she is quite young, 2 years younger than Tommy. So, a very natural question comes to her mind that all the kids learned the same thing. Because Tommy had gone through the book, he says, sure, if they were the same age. That means just what happens in our school, children of the same age, they will be in the same class. For example, if a child is in 5th standard, then all the children in that 5th standard will be near about the same age. A child of the same age studied in the same standard, and rest of the children studying with him or her, they also belong to that same age group. Margie goes on to say that, but my mother says a teacher has to be adjusted to fit the mind of each boy and girl it teaches, and that each kid has to be taught differently. Now, these children belong to future, and they are taught at home by a mechanical teacher. Their classroom is just next to their bedroom, and during the school hours they have to be in that particular room and do the learning from the mechanical teacher. Now each child is given separate instruction. Each child is taught differently according to the intelligence, according to the IQ, according to what the child can perform. So, if a child is very intelligent, then a higher level of teaching is done for them. And if a child is a slow learner or is an average child, then the teaching is done accordingly. So, that is what Margie's mother had been telling Margie, that the mechanical teacher has to be adjusted in such a way that it works according to the ability and intelligence of a child. Now, ability and intelligence of a child, for different children, both these things are going to be different. That means teaching process is not the same for each and every child. So Maggie is yet not able to believe that all the children of the same age has to learn the same thing. She says that the mechanical teacher has to be adjusted to fit the mind of each boy and girl, and the mechanical teacher will teach each kid differently. Just the same, they didn't do it that way then. If you don't like it, you don't have to read the book. This is said by Tommy. Now Tommy gets a little bit irritated by continuous questioning by Margie. Margie was younger, she didn't read the book, and she was quite curious. So that inquisitiveness or continuously asking question was done by Margie, and that disturbed Tommy. So he says that if you don't like it, then you don't read it. And Tommy was not able to satisfy the questions raised by Margie, so he gets a little fed up. But he still tries to answer a little bit of the question that was asked. So he replied that just the same, they didn't do it that way then. It means that during those times when a special building, a school was there, and a human teacher taught the kids in one class, that is how they did it at that time. Margie says, I didn't say I didn't like it. Margie said quickly. She wanted to read about those funny schools. Margie was quite curious, and this is the first time in her life that she has physically seen a book, or this is the first time in her life that she came to know that there is a real book in this world also. And previously children used to study from the real books, because up till now she had always been taught by a mechanical teacher, and she had been reading telebooks, that is the e-books we have now. So she's not ready to believe it, but because being curious, and she wanted to know what more is written in the books, so she, though did not agree with Tommy, then also she couldn't let the book go away. She wanted to read the book, so she compromises with Tommy. She says that I didn't say that I don't like whatever is written in the book, because she wanted to read the book and she wanted to read more funny things that that book contained. They weren't even half finished when Margie's mother called. Margie, school. Both the children were going through the book and they had not even reached half of the part of the book. Then suddenly Margie's mother called from the doorstep of the house loudly, asking Margie that it is school time. Margie looked up and said, "Not yet, Mom." Margie also shouted back, that means answered back loudly, that "Not yet, I will come after we are through with whatever we are doing now, that is reading the book." Both the children are so much engrossed or engaged with that book that they do not want to separate from the book, and they do not want to go and have the regular studies because it is study time. So Margie is not yet ready to go to school, and she wants to continue reading the book. "Now," said Mrs. Jones, "and it's probably time for Tommy too." Margie said to Tommy, "Can I read the book some more with you after school?" Mother is very strict about the school timing, so she orders Margie that now, right now, come to the house and go to your classroom. And if it is your time for school, then it is probably Tommy's time to go to school also. So Tommy also should stop doing whatever he's doing, that is reading the book, and he also should go home and go to the classroom and start the studies. Margie now is compelled to go to the school or classroom, so she says to Tommy, she makes a request to Tommy whether she can read the book some more with him after school. The book belongs to Tommy, so she has to request that she will read along with Tommy the same book after the school is over. Tommy replies, "Maybe," he said nonchalantly. He walked away whistling, the dusty old book tucked beneath his arm. Margie puts a request in front of Tommy whether she can read the book with him after the school is over. Tommy gives a rude answer by saying maybe, and he says it nonchalantly. That means nonchalantly means without any interest, without taking interest in what request Margie had put forward, and he walks away whistling. He is the proud owner of a real book, and he is very proud of it, so he goes away whistling, and the old book is tucked beneath the arm. Margie went into the classroom. It was right next to her bedroom, and the mechanical teacher was on and waiting for her. So Margie goes to her schoolroom. Schoolroom is nothing but the room just next to her bedroom, which was exclusively made as a classroom where all the learning material, all the technical gadgets, electronic gadgets, tools, equipments needed by the mechanical teacher in order to teach Margie, all of that equipments were fixed over there, fitted over there. So Margie goes to the classroom, that is the room next to her bedroom, where the mechanical teacher, it was switched on at the time of the school, automatically switched on, and it was waiting for Margie to come and start with the lessons. We also have fixed school timings. Timings are fixed for the transport to arrive at the designated place that is scheduled. You have to be present over there so that the transport can take you to the school. Next, we have proper timings for assembly, for timings to reach the classrooms. timings for each and every subject lecture. So, this way, these timings are fixed. So, even in the future, the same setup is seen over there, that the child learns at home. There is a separate room which is made a classroom, and school timings are also fixed. So there should be an arrangement where at the proper school timing the mechanical teacher, that is the equipment, automatically gets switched on and it waits for the child to come and start learning. So Margie goes to the schoolroom, which is right next to her bedroom, and the mechanical teacher was switched on and it was waiting for her. It was always on at the same time every day except Saturday and Sunday, because her mother said little girls learned better if they learned at regular hours. As we just discussed, there is a very good arrangement that the mechanical teacher will automatically get switched on at the proper timing of the school. So always, whenever Margie went to the classroom, she found the mechanical teacher switched on and waiting for her. And the mother, just like all the mothers in the world, the mothers would always like to teach something good to the children. So, here, what Margie's mother is stressing upon is the regularity, that at regular timings of the school, if the child sits down to learn properly, then she will learn in a more efficient manner. So, she says that girls, little girls, they learned better if they learned at regular hours of the school time or the class timings. In this picture, we can see the setup of the classroom of Margie. We can see the ugly black monitor, keyboard, and next to it is the slot where she is supposed to put her homework. There are cameras, headphones, etc. All those tools and equipments and computer peripherals are needed in the classroom. All that is fixed over there for the ease of learning, and everything is quite mechanical. She is all alone in the classroom, in the room, and she is taught by the mechanical teacher on the screen of the monitor. The screen was lit up and it said, "Today's arithmetic lesson is on the addition of proper fractions. Please insert yesterday's homework in the proper slot." When Margie came and sat in front of the monitor, the sensors must have picked up that, and as soon as the machine realized that the child has come for learning, so the monitor screen, which was already lit up, that means it was already switched on, as soon as it sensed the presence of the child, it said that it informed the child about today's work, that is, they are going to learn arithmetic lessons, and that lessons are going to be about fractions. And further instructions came from the machine, that is the mechanical teacher, to insert yesterday's homework in the slot so that the mechanical teacher can assess the test and give the marks accordingly. Margie did so with a sigh. She was thinking about the old schools they had when her grandfather's grandfather was a little boy. All the kids from the whole neighborhood came, laughing and shouting in the schoolyard, sitting together in the schoolroom, going home together at the end of the day. Margie's mind was still occupied with the discovery of the real book that Tommy had found, and the contents of that real book was still on her mind, and here the mechanical teacher was giving her instructions. She did not like it, so that is the meaning of sigh. Sigh means a dislike. So she heaved, or she breathed out very heavily, and did what was instructed to her by the mechanical teacher. without much thought. But she was still thinking about the old school they had when her grandfather's grandfather was a little boy. 5 generations before her, when the grandfather's grandfather was still a child. At that time, the school they had, those thoughts were still in her mind, and she was thinking how all the kids from the whole neighborhood means the whole of the area where you are living, whole of that area is called the neighborhood. So usually children, parents, they pick up a school which is quite near to their home. So children of that complete area will be going to that school. So all the children of the neighborhood, they will come walking, or why whatever transport they come, but they will be laughing and they will be having fun, because children will be of the same age and they will be making friends, and they all come together, have lots of fun while going to the school. Even at the school, they have lots of fun. So all these things, all these thoughts were in Margie's mind. They were racing in Margie's mind when Margie was seated before the mechanical teacher to start the lessons. All the kids from the whole neighborhood came, laughing and shouting in the schoolyard. Now, what is a schoolyard? Schoolyard is that open space in front of the school building which is having a multi-purpose use. We use it for assemblies, we use it for a collective prayers, for any say sort of dance performance or any performance on the stage, or any other activity like sports, etc. That all those activities are done in the schoolyard, the place, the empty space in front of the school, which we usually call the school ground. That is that open space. So all the children used to get together over there and they used to have real fun. That is the fun that children like Tommy and Margie, they are missing, because they are taught by mechanical teacher. They have their classroom in their own house and they are quite lonely. The mechanical teacher is an individual teacher teaching to an individual child. That is not fun. Fun is when all the children get together and have fun. And further, it is said that sitting together in the schoolroom, that is the fun. All the children, maybe it is 20, maybe it is 30, maybe it is 40, 50, whatever the number of the children sitting in that same classroom, but it is fun to have children of your same age sitting in the same classroom and all of them learning the same thing from the class teacher or whatever teacher the subject teacher is teaching. So it is fun to sit in a class with children of your age and study together. That is the fun Tommy and Margie are missing actually over here. Then it is further said, going home together at the end of the day. When the school gets over, again all of them go together on the road or in the transport, and all of them again have lots and lots of fun while going back to home. This is the fun that is missed by Margie. She yearns or craves for that type of fun which the children of the past, say 150 years back, the type of school they had, the fun they had, that is the name of the chapter, the fun they had. The fun they had while going to the school, while learning. Even in learning and teaching process, there was always fun, because human beings taught and human beings learned. A human teacher was teaching and human children, they were sitting together having all sorts of fun while learning. So learning was not stressful, it was not pain, it was not a tension, and everything was taught in the class. What we usually have, we have your queries solved, you raise questions, answers are given by the teacher. So all that is meaning, that human touch is missing. Here a mechanical teacher is teaching, that mechanical teacher is devoid, or it does not have any feelings. So it will be teaching in a very monotonous way, even the sound of the mechanical teacher is going to be a mechanical sound, and it will not have a human touch. That human touch is seriously missing in this futuristic schools. It is further said that they learned the same things, so they could help one another with the homework and talk about it. This is yet another fun that the students of the past they had. When all the children are learning the same thing, many a times you also miss your classes because of some reason you are not able to attend school for 1 or 2 days. Then your friends they help you out with that particular topic. They help you learn those topics. Whatever they understood, they pass it on to you so that you don't miss. So this is what Margi is missing, that they sit together, they learn the same things, and if I don't know anything, I can learn it from my friend who is sitting next to me. So they could help each other, and they can help you in the homework. Here Margi has been given the homework by the mechanical teacher, and Margie is supposed to do that homework herself. If she doesn't know, then she doesn't have anybody to help her. But in the school of the past, the children they used to learn the same things, and they could help each other out with the homework, and they can even talk and discuss about it. Here each and every child in the futuristic classroom is taught according to her intelligence and IQ. So the lessons from one child to second child is going to differ, and they are not going to have the same level of studies. So here even if you want, you cannot help out each other. So these are some of the very serious things that Magi is thinking about and what she is missing. And the teacher were people. It's a very small sentence, but a whole of the world is fitted in that one sentence. That is what Marge is missing. That human touch, as I just said, that mechanical teacher is going to teach in a very monotonous sound, and it is going to be a mechanical teacher. A human being talking to another human being is totally missing. That human touch is missing, and that is what actually Marge is missing. And the human beings, the teachers, they were people. That means real, live human being was teaching. So there, whenever a human being is teaching another human being, there will be always a human touch, a personal touch to it, which is completely absent in a mechanical teacher. The mechanical teacher was flashing on the screen when we add fraction 1 by 2 and 1 by 4. That is exactly what Margie wants to say, that the mechanical teacher is least bothered that the child's attention is not in what is being taught to her, because the mechanical teacher is programmed for continuous flow of study. The mechanical teacher continues with the studies, giving the instructions without even looking that the child is least bothered of what it is being taught, or what is being taught, or whether the child is learning what is being taught, because that is a one-way approach. The mechanical teacher does its work mechanically without looking into other matters. So the instructions are passed on the screen, but Margie is hardly listening to the instructions given on the screen. Margie was thinking about how the kids must have loved it in the old days. She was thinking about the fun they had. Margie's thoughts were still dragging her back to those days when children went to school. All the children went to school, and a human teacher was teaching them. It was all the fun that they were having. They had all the fun. And she was still thinking about the fun they had in the school, how in which different ways the children can have fun. Her mind was still engaged in those thoughts, even when the mechanical teacher was continuously giving out instructions and teaching in that same manner without even looking whether the child's attention is in the studies or not. So, students, we reach the end of the chapter. This is where we complete the chapter. Now, let us take a quick recap of what we have learned in lecture number 1 and 2. You already have the PDF of the chapter. There is no need to print it. You can always read it directly from the PDF without getting it printed. Now, right from the starting of the chapter, the time of the story is set in 2157 AD, that is 2157 AD, approximately 137 years from now. And Margie and Tommy are the main characters of the story. Tommy found a real book in the attic and he is reading it. Margie joins Tommy and she is also surprised to find a real book in the hand of Tommy, and she asks the usual question, what is this book, what is written in this book, and both of them are totally engrossed and engaged in reading this book, and they are very surprised that just like their telebooks or the e-books, you don't have to scroll it up and down. The letters printed on the page remains as it is when they read it, and after reading the book you can simply keep it away, which is a total waste, because after reading that book you just throw it away, whereas telebooks or ebooks you can store it onto a computer, and the computer has a lots of storage space, so there is no need of deleting it or throwing it. So both the children are completely engaged in reading the book, and they come to know that this book is about the school which existed some 150 or more than that years back, where there was a school building, and the teachers and the students used to come to the school for the process of teaching and learning, and they had mechanical teacher, but this school of the old times, there was a human teacher teaching the students. All the students of the same age group, they studied together, and a human teacher used to teach them. Maggie, being younger than Tommy, she's quite surprised to find that a human teacher is teaching, and she's not ready to believe it. And on the top of it, she hates the school like anything because of the recent incident which happened to her because of the geography subject. It was the mechanical teacher was giving test after test, and she was performing very badly in those tests, getting very less marks, and the mother got fed up of the situation, and she called the county inspector to come and have a look at it. So the county inspector comes and takes the mechanical teacher apart, finds the fault and repairs it in 1 hour, and uh, Maggie is quite upset and disappointed. Then again she has to go through the classes and give tests. So this way she hates school very much because she is very lonely in the classroom. In the classroom she is the only student. The classroom is next to her bedroom. A room is made as a classroom where all the gadgets and tools and equipments and technical and mechanical things are there to help out the student in the learning process. The mechanical teacher has a monitor which continuously flashes out or it teaches on the monitor. So this way the child is quite bored by this mechanical learning, and she is very much surprised to find that a human teacher teaches children. That human touch is missing in this futuristic schools where the mechanical teacher teaches in a very monotonous and mechanical way. So with all those thoughts in the mind, mother calls her to go to the classroom because it is time for her to attend the school. So unwillingly she goes to the classroom, sits in front of the monitor, and works according to the instruction of the mechanical teacher, but her mind is elsewhere. Her mind is still in that books and content of the books, and she is wondering what great fun the students of those days had when everybody sits together and a human teacher is teaching and they are learning. That is fun that Margie is missing. Now students, we come to assignment 2, the second lecture of chapter number 1. You have to answer these questions. It has been observed from assignment 1, the answers that you have given. Many students have given a one-line answer to the question. Students, this is a 2-mark question and you have to write a lot for 2 marks. You have to start your answer with the name of the chapter, name of the author of the chapter, and then start with the answer. There should be at least 6 to 7 lines so that you justify the question. Whatever is asked in the question should be justified by you. So, assignment number 2, answer these questions. All these questions carry 2 marks each. Question number 1, describe the kind of schoolroom did Margie have? Repeating the question, describe the kind of schoolroom that Margie had. Question number 2, how is the fun they had a futuristic story? Repeating, how is fun they had a futuristic story? Question number 3, why was Margie disappointed? I am repeating the question, why was Margie disappointed? Question number 4, state the differences between the old school and the futuristic school. I am repeating the question, state the differences between the old school and the futuristic school. Students, this is English subject, so please don't make column A and column B and write the differences in column A and B. Please write a whole answer where you state the differences between old school and the futuristic school. It should be in a sentence and paragraph form, not in column form. Question number 5. Express the children's feelings about the real book. I am repeating the question. Express the children's feelings about the real book. It has been noted that students still don't write their roll number, name, date, assignment number on the top and just submit it. The person who is checking will not be able to make sure whose answer or whose assignment this is. So make sure, students, to make a mental note that before you submit your assignment or homework, ensure that your name, roll number, class, division, date, assignment number is clearly mentioned on the top so that it becomes easier for the examiner to check your answers and give a proper reply to you. Students, please note down the assignment. Please note down the questions so that it can be easier for you to answer those questions. Please take the help of the PDF, the chapter that has been given to you. Please take the help of that PDF to find out complete answers of the questions that are asked to you. Thank you.